Hi, Kit Wertz with you, Flower Duet. I've shown you a number of ways of how to gift wrap a vase. And let's show you, once we have a vase that's been gift wrapped, how to add some flowers to it. So this is a challenging design because you have this tall piece of paper behind it. So how do you design in something like this? And these little ends of the paper are kind of flipping up, so I'd probably get some double-sided tape or some Zot dots and tuck those in. But right now I'm just going to get going on the arrangement. So you want to think about trying to keep the arrangement pretty much in the design. So you can't really go out. So you're going to think more tall. But you can have some things maybe spilling over in the front. So I have a mix of flowers here. I have some beautiful yellow roses, white spray roses, a little green trichianthus, a green celosia, looks like brain coral. I think it goes really pretty because our colors are yellow and green, and white background. And so I'm not going to do the pink because there's plenty of pink. And then our trusty ruscus. So what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to build a little bit in my hand first. Then I'm going to add it to the vase, and then I'm going to add some height after. So I'm going to set this aside for a second, and I'm going to clean my stems, because anytime you build your arrangement in your hand, you want to make sure that there are no leaves left on the stem. So with roses, you also have thorns to deal with, so you want to make sure you clip those off. And you can see I'm just going to clip off the thorns with my cutters. If you have a floral knife, you can obviously know how to strip them off with your knife. These flowers are from our wholesaler, so you may need to go through and take some of those cushion petals off. But they look pretty good to me, and I like how they look, so I'm going to leave them on. Then I have my spray roses. Remember, when you get up close, you want to be careful not to yank a whole flower head off. And there's those missing flowers in the middle because the grower pinched those off to encourage more flowers to grow. Sometimes you might have a long one like this that's too low on the stem. We call those hitchhikers. Take those off. So this is all part of the cleaning process. And once you have your leaves off on your roses, you can always go down the stem and then see if there's any thorns. So those are all my rose leaves. Push those off to the side. These are already cleaned. Then I have my Israeli ruscus. So I'm going to pull off a lot of the lower leaves on these just to get them ready. So I'm leaving about 10 leaves at the top, or maybe 5 or 6 groups of leaves at the tip of each stem. And as you can see, I've grouped everything by type, so it's easy for me to build my design. So I'm going to start with my thick flowers. These are going to be the ones that are going to be low in the design. So I'm going to go with my big roses, my big spray rose, my greens. Maybe I want to throw in a little bit of greenery in here to break up some of that color. Maybe I want to run right here in the middle. Okay, then I can add my other roses. So now I have just a really quick little bouquet, and the reason why I went together so fast is because I did all the cleaning ahead of time. So that's how that works. Now let's bring this over. Now let's bring our vase back over, and we're gonna measure by bringing the vase to the edge of the table, and then I'm gonna hold my flowers and kind of see, okay, I need to cut them about here so that they'll rest inside that lip. So I'm gonna give them a quick cut. And what I mean by that is stem seal in 10 seconds. I'm going to cut them all across. And this is where you really need bunch cutters. A knife won't do it. Got my water in there. I'm going to hold them in until I get them into the vase, and then I'm going to let go. Okay, too tall. I really want them to hug more. So let's move some things around. I'm going to pull this celosia down, one of my roses down, pull some of this other stuff up so that it's more like a cone, meaning it's instead of being a big rounded, I'm actually making it look more cone shaped. I'm going to cut a little bit more off my stems. Within 10 seconds, I'm going to get them back in the vase. There, that fills up that a little bit nicer. Let's see. Yeah, that looks great. So my goal here is I want to have color, my yellow, kind of dotted throughout. So I want to have some low, and then I want to have some peeking out here on the sides. You got to make sure that that vase is full of water. So what I'm missing here is some height. So I'm going to take one of my spray roses that I have left. I'm going to cut off this hitchhiker so I only have 3 blooms left. And I'm going to try placing it in here and seeing how that looks. Still a little tall. Take another inch off. There, now that's tucking through. So now I have white here, white here, white here. So it carries it through. So the last thing I'm missing is a little bit of height from some of my greenery. Take one of my greens. I can measure by holding it next to it on the table. And then of course placing it in. I want to lean it so it kind of goes along with that rose. So I'm missing something over here. I don't want quite something as tall. So I'm holding it on the table to measure it. Stick this behind that rose. Make sure I'm getting it in the vase. And I'm going to turn it around so I can see what I'm doing. So this is an all-around design. So I want to keep turning it around to see. So I think I'm missing a little greenery here. And I want to tuck this rose. So I'm missing a green there. So I'm going to measure by pulling it in front. It's going to be low, so I got to pull off most of the leaves. Tucking it into that vase. And maybe one more in the front. It's going to be nice and low, tucked right next to that celosia. There. Finished. A gift wrap vase of roses. The gift wrap makes it look a more high-end, more expensive, more luxurious. The fancier the paper you use, the more luxurious it is. And then you don't need to spend quite as much on the flowers because it'll look like a really fancy gift. And then when they take the paper off, they have a beautiful plain glass cylinder vase. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Flower Arranging with Flower Duet.